Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to this short 20-minute class where we're going to be focusing on freeing tension, freeing tightness into this neck and shoulder and upper body region. If you're anything like me, I carry a lot of tension here. I do surf quite a lot, and that does impact the tightness into my neck and shoulders. But that aside, this is often a place where we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders, and this area in many of us can feel tight, a bit overused. So just coming to any comfortable seated position, cross-legged or kneeling, whatever serves you, making sure there's an absence of sensation into those knee joints. Feel free to sit yourself up onto a block of cushion if that helps you, just to, I'm sat up on a yoga block here, roll that pelvis forward. And let's come into the movement into the shoulders. So picking those shoulders up and just rolling them down and around. Imagining they're like wheels that are rolling backwards. You might get this crunchy, clunking sounds now and again. Someone said to me once, oh, that's because your shoulders are close to your ears. I don't know if that's true, but I always think of that when I take this action and hear those crunchy, clunky sounds. Let's roll forward with the shoulders. So we can often feel quite stuck. It's quite stuck into the neck and the shoulder region. And when we feel stuck, there is a temptation to just stay in that stuckness, or maybe we're not sure how to become unstuck. And some gentle movement can help us move out of these places of stuckness or tightness or tiredness. And then just allowing those shoulder blades to drop down the back of the body. And just be aware of the base of your pelvis, those sitting bones. We're just going to press down to rise up. As you rise up, you're feeling that spine lengthening. And notice as you root down to rise up, the shoulders just naturally fall away from the ears. Taking a nice inhale and exhale. We're going to drop that chin to the chest, breathing into the back of the neck. And then it's nose to ceiling. So I'm not dropping the head back, but I'm just opening through that throat center space. Chin into chest, breathing into the back of the neck. Again, nose to ceiling, opening through that throat center space. One more time, chin into chest. And then as you bring this head up, try to catch that moment where the head feels light. We're balancing the weight of the head on top of the spine. And then dropping the ear to one shoulder. If you want to intensify the stretch, you can take the other hand, the opposite arm down to the side. Check that arms relax, give it a shake, give it a shimmy, and then try to let the weight of the arm bone go. I'm breathing into the space between the ear and the shoulder. Looking for that gentle stretching sensation, but not being too gung-ho, too strong here. Being sensitive and kind to those tissues of the neck. They do a lot of work carrying the weight of the head at the top of your body. And then we're rolling that chin down into the chest. Now, interlacing the hands behind you, just relax the arms forward. And then resist the hands against the head against the hands, but just enough so that head floats up. Now here, feel the muscles of the back of the neck contract. So we're exploring this balanced action between stretching and contracting. And then releasing the arms, and hopefully your head feels a bit lighter. Let's take this over to the other side. So dropping the other ear to the other shoulder. If you want to intensify that stretch, take the opposite hand down to the floor. Give it a shake, give it a shimmy, and then just let it go. Just breathing into the space between the ear and the shoulder. And then again, rolling that chin down into the chest. Hands interlace at the back of the head. Relax those arms bones for a moment. And then as you resist the head against the hands against the head floats up. There's some engagement, some muscular energy here. and then releasing the arms. Your body will thank you for making that head feel light. And let's just finish this sequence, this section, with a few of those backward shoulder rolls. Feeling that movement, I often think of it like you go for a car wash. The washers of the car wash of the shoulder and the shoulder blades. So feeling that movement of the scapular bones, and then just allow those shoulder blades to fall down the back of the body, softening them down to the base of the pelvis as you rise up. Taking a nice deep breath here, relaxing your face, relaxing your jaw. And actually, if this is all you've got time for, this will be enough. But if you've got time for a bit more, let's come round to all fours. So coming around to this tabletop position, we're looking to have our knees underneath the hips and the hands underneath the shoulders. Just checking you don't lock out into those shoulders. So a nice little softness, a nice little buoyancy into this elbow joint. And then from here, taking a few rounds of cat-cow, we're going to press the earth away, round into your back, and notice how those shoulder blades move away from each other. Then with your next inhale, drop the ribs to the earth and allow those shoulder blades to come towards each other. And just move between these two actions, dropping the head as you drop the pelvis and round the back, shoulder blades moving down the side of the body. Inhale, dropping the rib cage. So as we drop the ribs to the earth, the pelvis reaches up, the head reaches up, but just check you're not reaching up too far with that head. So just always keeping those tissues soft into the back of the neck. Take 3 more rounds of this action, moving with your breath, feeling into these bony landmarks, feeling into the weight of the pelvis and the head as you round the back, feeling into the rib cage at the front of the body as you extend. Making this your last one, we're going to come to half and a Hattanasana. So it could be that some of us benefit from having a block or a cushion to rest the head on here. So we're going to bring the right forearm to the earth, taking that left arm up in front of you, bottom to the sky. Now have some muscular energy into this left hand. So you're going to press left hand into the earth, lift armpit, left elbow, and there's a light lift of the belly as well. Taking an inhale, and then as you take an exhale, melt the head to the forearm. And there's a real balance here in this half heart melting posture of melting the heart to the earth, but not overly collapsing into the shoulders. So not shutting off flow of energy in and around your shoulders. So if you're very mobile, you'll need to quite work this left arm quite hard, pressing the left hand into the earth, lifting armpit, lifting elbow, drawing navel lightly to spine, and then melting the heart. Looking for that gentle stretching sensation into the shoulder. And whenever we think of that heart center space, we think of the front of the body. You bring your awareness, your focus to the back of the heart, the space between the shoulder blades. Melt from the back of the heart to the front of the heart. And then as you take your awareness from the heart center space, coming into that left hand, now draw a line down the side of the left body to the left side of your pelvis and draw back. You take 3 more breaths here. Draw back with that left hip. The end of your 3rd breath. I'm going to come back to center, back to kneeling. If kneeling is not comfortable for you, you might make it or find it more comfortable if you put a block or cushion between the buttocks and heels. Otherwise, any seated position is fine. Bring your right arm underneath the left, and interlace those forearms. So we're into these eagle arms. Now, if that doesn't work for you for any reason, sometimes the chest is in the way, sometimes the arm bones aren't long enough, you can do my favorite pose, which is Haganasana. Otherwise, interlacing those forearms, drop the elbows down the back of the body, down the front of the body, sorry. And then rising up if there's any space to rise up. Breathing and gazing just beyond the hands. Taking one more breath. And then as we come back to center, release those eagle arms by floating those arms out to the side. And let's take this sequence over to the left. So back up to our tabletop position. Let's go back into a few rounds of our cat-cow. As we inhale, soften the ribs to the earth and melting through the front of the heart. And then as we exhale, expand to the back of the heart, dropping the head, dropping the pelvis. Inhale. Feeling that protraction and retraction of your shoulder blades. That's a fancy term for those shoulder blades. Moving away from each other as we round the back, moving towards each other as we lengthen through the front of the body. Coming back to the center, back to neutral. Bring your left forearm to the earth and stretch forward with that right hand. You can use a brick as well if you need to be a bit higher up, or you can put your right hand onto a brick. Otherwise, reaching forward with that right arm. Remember, we've got this delicate balance between muscular energy, so lifting right elbow, lifting right armpit, gently lifting through the navel to spine region of our body. We gently shorten tissues in the back front of the body, helping those tissues in the back of the body to lengthen. So there's that feeling of up energy, but then from the back of the heart, the space between the shoulder blades, melt the back of the heart to the front of the heart and melt the whole of the heart to the earth. Finding that sweet spot, that Goldilocks place, where the shoulders, getting that stretching sensation, but also that sensation, that feeling of moving into space, moving into length. Bring your awareness to that right hand, down the side of the right body, draw back to the right side of the pelvis. Listening, patiently waiting for all these tight areas to maybe melt a little bit. Let's take one more breath. And then slowly unraveling yourself again. Coming to kneeling. Remember, maybe kneeling doesn't work for you. So there's a block between the buttocks and heels, or maybe just taking a different seated position. Taking our eagle arms to the other side. So this left arm now coming underneath that right elbow, interlacing those forearms. Haganasana, if that's not working for you. Otherwise, we drop the elbows down in front of the body for a moment. And then feeling this down energy rising up if there's the opportunity, gazing at those forearm bones. One more breath. And then floating those arms like lovely eagle wings Exhale and release. Let's come back to this tabletop position. So this is like a mini cat-cow into the shoulder blades. So you draw those shoulder blades towards each other, softening into the heart. So there's this little retraction of the shoulder blades, and then pressing into the outer edge of the hand, gently rounding through the back, but the action's coming from the shoulder blades moving away from each other. So they move towards each other. Maybe that's an inhale. They move away from each other. Maybe that's an exhale. And the torso does come back and up, but the movement is coming from the shoulder blades, the scapular bones moving towards each other, the scapular bones moving away from each other. And this is definitely one of these actions that at first I think, oh, there's not much movement happening. And then after a few rounds, I suddenly notice a few extra millimeters of movement. And it's not about, getting deeper into things, but that tells me that I definitely freed up some space. And then coming back to center, take the big toes together, knees as wide as you like, as we sit back onto the heels. So we're going to come into one of my favorite variations of child's pose, twisted child's pose. So knees as wide as you like, big toes together, bringing the hands to the earth in front of you. Now, press into the hand lightly and stick your bottom out. So broadening through the back of the pelvis. And then we're going to take the right hand and thread it underneath that left arm. We're looking to bring the side of the head to the earth. And if your head is dangling for any reason, don't let that happen. Prop it up onto a block. And then you're going to reach forward with this left hand, coming onto the fingertips of that left hand for now. And what we're going to do is draw back through the left side of the pelvis, so that right side of the pelvis, sorry. Right hip draws back and right arm reaches forward to the left. Now there's some energy into my left hand. I'm onto these fingertips, armpit, elbow lifting. So as I reach forward with my right hand to the left, draw back with the right side of the hip to the right. The other action is thinking of just melting the pelvis down to the earth. This might be enough for you, or you might want to try bringing a nice internal rotation into this left shoulder, bringing this left arm somewhere on the back of the body, so palm faces upwards, maybe just resting onto the back of the pelvis, or maybe your arm nestle into the inside of the right hip, or anywhere in between. Maybe you do that and it feels really uncomfortable, so you don't have to do it. Because if we're forcing something that feels uncomfortable into our shoulder region, we're probably not freeing tension. We could be having the opposite effect. So it's always that gentle, loving, kind approach to your body. Great thing about this little sequence into our neck and shoulders, it can be done at any time of day. You might find it really useful to do this just before you go to bed. But equally, confession time here, I am actually going surfing in a little bit, and I'm really excited to have recorded this before going surfing because my shoulders feel light. Take one more breath. And then unraveling slowly. So bring those arms out in front of you, coming to center. Let's take an inhale, exhale, lengthening down into that full child's pose just for a moment. Breathing into the back of the body. And let's take this over to the other side. So coming up onto this right arm now, we're threading this left hand underneath and over towards the right. Remember, if that Head is dangling. Don't let it dangle. Head weighs about a stone. If you let it dangle, those tissues of the neck have got to carry that weight to the head. They're doing an awful lot of that. So if we can provide the opportunity within our yoga practice to rest the weight of the head to a prop or to the earth, I say go for it. Stretch forward with that right arm, armpit, elbow lifting. Reach to the right with the left hand, but then counter that by drawing back through the left side of the pelvis. Oh, my right and left all over the place. I always do this when I come into sort of any form of twist. My brain goes, what is right and what is left? Now remember, we've got the option with this top arm to leave it out in front of us or bring it into this internal rotation. So the palm turns up. As you turn the palm up, do that first before bringing this arm behind you. Maybe it just rests on the back of the pelvis. Maybe it wriggles around even into the inner crease, that left side of the hip. You know, this isn't all about range of motion flexibility. You've got super long arms. They probably will reach round. If your arms are a bit shorter, then maybe not. And you may have noticed there's a difference between your right and left side of the body. I'm going to say, if you have, well done, that means you're paying attention. The human form is not designed to be symmetrical, so don't make that one of your goals. Lovingly recognize those differences between the right and left side of your body. That is easier said than done. Let's take one more breath. And then unraveling, coming back to center. Let's stretch those arms out in front of us. Taking an inhale, surrendering down into child's pose. Let's finish our practice today with a few moments here. I had a yoga teacher once who, said, if you came to a mat, you knew you had to do some practice, but you didn't know what to do child's pose. That resonates and stays with me for so many years. Every time I come to that pose, I think of it. Breathing into the back of the heart, melting the back of the heart to the front of the heart. Just doing our best to let go of anything we can. Let go of that tension to the neck and shoulders. Maybe it will go. Maybe it will partially go. Maybe we're not sure. We're just glad we've done some movement. The end of your exhalation here, just slowly bringing yourself back up to center, back up to kneeling. Let's finish with a few backward rolls of those shoulders. And thank you so much. And I hope your neck and shoulders at least feel a little bit better.